What's up, dudes? I am getting ready to go fishing tomorrow. Got the week off, going out with the family. Gonna get some fishing days in, so I'm getting ready for that. But last Sunday, I told you guys at the start of the year, one of my goals this year was to place well in a tournament. I joined the 503 Bassers, a local bass club. I liked what they offer. I liked how nice and inclusive they were. They've been great. So after all that wait, finally got out on a boat for the first time on one of these tournaments out of the Columbia River, central eastern Oregon, and it was a great day. We caught an absolute monstrous amount of fish, but you know, still not a ton of giants. We were in a post-spawn pattern. Gonna go over more of that later, so let's sit back, go ahead and see what this looked like. I'll go through you know, what we were using, what our status was during the day, and I'll show you how we finished down at the end. Thanks, guys. Well, guys, I was really excited to get going this day. We got on the water about 6 o'clock after some delays, and Josh and I were the fourth boat out. I was definitely feeling some nerves, you know, not the most confident fisherman at the best of times, so I was definitely afraid of making some mistakes on the water, afraid of letting my partner down, you know, afraid of not catching any fish, lots of fears. And, you know, despite a lot of folks in this group being really outgoing and forward and very encouraging of me, I still was pretty nervous. But started out with a pretty long run to a sheltered cove area that was a bit of a spawning flat. We were kind of checking for spawning fish, and all we found were a couple little dinks, so we moved on to another area that was a flat next to some open water, a big drop off, and there was a rock pile there, and right away we started getting fish. I got this one on a chatterbait with first keeper, so my first ever tournament keeper. You know, that was a lot of fun. Not long after, Josh got one that kept, and while he was putting it in the box here, I hooked up again. You know, that was kind of how quick things were at times in this morning. We'd get fish in these big bursts. You know, I had at least 3 or 4 different instances of fish on 4 or 5 casts out of 10, you know, if not 3, 4 in a row. So, you know, again, right away, got a keeper on the chatterbait. Josh got one, and then I got another one on the chatterbait while he was still putting that one in the box. So, you know, we had 3 keepers right there within a, you know, a 5-minute span. And then right after that, we switched over to Ned rigs mostly, and got the first nice fish of the day for us. This is probably about a 2-pounder, and this was on a lighter color Ned rig. Shortly thereafter, once I broke that off for the first of a billion times that day, I switched to a black and blue, and that seemed to be really what killed it, even though we had cleaner water. And then right here, I got our big fish of the day. He bit it pretty light and then ran. I caught him there, and immediately knew he was pretty big. You saw my hand slip off the handle there, and for some reason in this day, I kept going to this awesome power squat. I'm not really sure what that's about, but I'm gonna own it anyway. Pretty excited to get this fish. I thought he was bigger than he was. When Josh hooked him, I actually said aloud, that might be my PB. You see me say it there. And I pretty quickly realized it wasn't, but once I weighed it, it was 3.08 at the time I caught it. You know, and that ultimately would end up being our biggest fish of the day. Was obviously pretty excited about that one. That's a nice fish any day, let alone post spawn in my first tournament and in the first couple hours of my first tournament. So I was already feeling pretty good. I already had a handful of fish in the boat and I was contributing, and so that point I was stoked. So we got that one in the box, and then literally the next cast after it was in the box, I hooked up again, and then again on the cast after that. So, like I said, when things were fast and moving, they really were moving. Right after that, Josh got another decent one, and yet again, while he was culling it, I hooked up. Then we did our first cull. At that point, we had our keepers, 6 fish, and got rid of one of them. And then I hooked into another really nice one. This one put up a really good fight and ran me around, really rewarding. Once I got him over there, I could tell immediately he was big again. I think that one was pushing just under 3 pounds also. Those were, I think, the 2 big fish of the day, and again, both came on a black and blue Ned rig. Pretty easy cull after that. Got rid of our second fish, and then right back to fishing. And literally 2 minutes later, this happened. Got another one hooked up, and this one also would end up weighing, and we'd end up culling yet another one. So again, all of this since that first big fish has been not even 10-15 minutes. So it's boom, 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 we're moving, we're culling. Things were feeling pretty good. Then moved back up and drifted out one more time from the shallower water to the deeper water. Yet again, hooked up with another fish. And think this one gets tossed, but it is another really pretty fish. Yeah, he gets tossed. So there you go. And then right after that, right before we decided to leave this area, we're almost doing a last cast thing. I was dragging it in, hooked up into another decent one, went right back into my power stance. That's how you know I'm gonna bring the fish in. Definitely the power stance was the key to the day. Forget the bait and the boat, forget all that. It was the power stance. So yet another really good feeling fish. And because we got that one, and we're able to cull out another fish, we opted to stick around for, I don't know, another 10 or 15 minutes. And luckily, yet again, I hooked into another decent one, brought it in, and this was the last keeper from our morning session, or the early morning part. So all of these fish came in one area over 1 hour, an hour and a half stretch. We culled, I think, 3 or 4 different fish during this time. It was pretty good action, gorgeous fish. Most of them came on the Ned rig. I think a couple of Josh were on a spinnerbait. We're not using any secret baits here or anything, so not going to hide that. After that, we made a move and got a few more fish. I got one on an A rig. We got some more on a crankbaits. Got a Ned fish that didn't really make the cut either. Good looking fish, but not gonna cull some of the ones from the first area, as you can tell. Tossed it back, and then moved right on back to the first area because we just weren't feeling it anywhere else. And right away, another good fish. Caught a lot of these kind of cookie cutter pound and a half males that had moved out. Again, Josh knew pretty early on that these fish were going to be moving from the spawning area out to the deeper water, so they were kind of in that secondary staging area.
Let me contribute something. We're pretty good about letting them kind of eat it.
Could be standing there talking to you and like shit's going boom, 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 boom. As you can tell there, Josh and I were having a lot of fun. It was good mood on the boat. It was a beautiful day out, and we were catching a ton of fish. We moved yet again. Got to kind of run around, find some more fish, and all we caught was a few Dropshot fish, a few more crank fish, a few more Ned fish. Fairly frustrated with the fact that while we were catching dozens of fish, we were not catching keepers. So we figured, last ditch effort, we'd run back to our main spot. My hat's gone. Finished our day back at our first spot, caught another close to a dozen fish, but nothing kept. Josh did get one that was probably 2.5 pounds. It probably would have culled one for sure, moved us up a position in the final rankings, but we lost it right at the boat. Frustrating. So we did fish right back to the boat, and we each got one more as we went in before the weigh-in. big one. What a beautiful fish. There's the second one. Another 3-pounder. Pretty darn close. Beautiful little stud. It's a gorgeous fish.
Yeah, it is. That's a good one. It's a dark one.
Yep. And a little guy.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Great tournament, great fun. Thanks a lot, man. Well, that will do it. I want to give a huge shout out to my boater Josh. Such a cool dude, really patient with me as I felt through my first tournament, and really chill about all the fish. He put me on a lot of great fish. I owe him all the credit. He put us right where the fish were. I just cast out and caught him. Easy peasy. As you heard before, we finished with 14 pounds. That was good for 5th place. There was 19 boats in this tournament. If there had been 20, 5th would have been in the money. So we actually would have placed in the money. We didn't know. We missed by, I think, 0.4 pounds. Our big fish of 3.3-ish, or I think it weighed 298, wasn't even close to the 5-pounder that won big fish. But, you know, 5th place I feel really good about. I didn't expect a whole ton going in. I honestly, again, my biggest fear was just disappointing my boater, and ultimately I had a blast. We caught a bunch of beautiful fish. We had a better day than some people who got unlucky, and I'm really excited to get back on the water, do this more. I really kind of love that serious tournament fishing. Even though we had a lot of fun, it was serious and we moved quick, and I really enjoyed that. So thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate any feedback you guys give me. Thanks to anybody who's new to the channel. I'll catch you guys next time.